something when we stopped. Keep firing away.
I was just telling everybody that in just a short hour, we are going to be joined by the inimitable Scott Pressler, the persistence himself. And we hope that you are going to stick around for all the revelry with all of your favorite Patriots cussing and discussing and see what that man is up to these days. Because I am saying, you can say a lot of things about Scott Pressler, and one of them is that man puts his money where his mouth is. And you know I have always admired that.
Yes, he's doing a bang up. We've always said a lot of nice things about Scott and what he does and what he's doing. So, he's doing an unbelievable job for
really
the MAGA movement.
And for anybody who doesn't know, I do know one very unique piece of information about Mr. Pressler. So you're going to have to join us on the Speakeasy to find out what that is.
Yes, and Christy, I need to take more OBS classes and buy a new mouse. You got everybody's a credit.
Click, click, click.
Oh, if you want me to buy a new mouse, there is a donate link at the bottom to Patreon or PayPal.me if you'd like to contribute to the show so that I can buy a new mouse. As far as the OBS issue, OBS crashed, so there's nothing else I can do about that. So, anywho.
Mm-hmm. So he says.
Yes, if you'd like me to buy a new mouse, the link is at the bottom of the show, right?
Mouth of the South is saying that Christy is her backup.
Oh, good grief. See,
because it takes a whole army of us to keep you in check. See?
It keeps a whole army of you to try to fight back against the Yankee.
Well, no, really, it only takes one, but
Well, no shit.
Anyway,
we hate to insult you like that.
Oh, if anybody thought I was going to be on my best behavior tonight, they were sadly mistaken.
Oh,
anyway, we're going to show a little video.
In public, what can we do?
We're going to do some winning here and promo Scott a little bit with, how about a video, Doc?
I think that would be a great kickoff. Let's get to it.
And here it is. Whoa. Wow, everything's going crazy tonight. Here we go.
We're too close to that full moon we had.
Hey everybody, this is Scott Pressler. We're here in Los Angeles. I'm at a homeless camp, and there are so many tons of trash here that we're going to come out on September 21st and come clean up, come make a difference. There are some veterans living in this camp, so we're not only going to help clean up the trash, but also help the homeless veteran community. So I'm going to have more details to come out soon, but we want to give back, not only on the East Coast in Baltimore, Maryland, but here on the West Coast as well.
So, if you thought that the trash in Baltimore was pretty bad, that looks horrible.
Isn't that mind-blowing? I mean, honestly,
that's just
how we have not already been overtaken by diseases and pestilence coming out of all of that. I don't know. And if you owned a home or a business, like that little girl that I saw on YouTube that was telling them, that she was moving her business because she has to, step over homeless people. She has to clean up every morning before she can even open her business. She has to clean up human excrement and try to clean the smell of urine. She said the smell is absolutely horrendous, and that she fears for their safety now because a large part of them have mental health issues. So it just I can't even imagine if everything you owned was wrapped up in that environment. What would you do? You can't just walk away, from everything you've worked all your life for. So it just puts these poor people in such a predicament.
And Doc, on top of that, and I've seen some tweets on Twitter about leprosy making a comeback in California. Now, that's not confirmed yet, but it's just a distinct possibility, since typhus and all kinds of third world diseases are making a comeback in California right now.
For goodness sake, the plague. I mean, what is it going to take? But you know what? If it does, it might call out a whole bunch of libs, is all I'm going to say. Unfortunately, the problem is that it would take a lot of patriots with them, too. So, but our wonderful POTUS, if you did not catch the rally this week in his speeches, he said that the feds were about to get involved, that they cannot have these left-wing libnut mayors and governors ruining the large cities of America. That they turn them into absolutely a third world, like a third world country. And I just think that is grand. Do whatever you got to do, jerking on their tail. And as the people that live there, good gosh, have some backbone. Stand up to these people. Do something. I mean, even Dems can't be happy about living in that.
Just real quick, addressing something in the chat. I just checked. We did not abandon YouTube. We are streaming live on YouTube and DLive and Twitch. So everything seems to be working fine now. It was not user error, but Duffy. So moving on here.
Liberty 77 saying socialism at its best. Yes, and that's on a small scale. Can you imagine if we were to ever allow one of the Dem candidates to be elected? Oh dear God. Just isn't ever going to happen, because they absolutely would turn us into Venezuela. And Venezuela, last time I checked, was eating their pets and their zoo animals. And I'm too old to live without my accoutrements. I've come used to like running water and sewage and, small little details of life like that.
Just so everybody knows, there's a couple comments in the chat about Scott Presler. He will be on in about roughly 40 minutes from now on the Speakeasy Show. This is Promises Kept. So we switched up. We switched up our shows so that Promises Kept could continue on, and that Speakeasy would have 2 hours. So there you go. We'll go on with another tweet from Scott Presler, and we are going to use this one in the Speakeasy, I think, as well, when Scott is on. But this is the persistent Scott Presler himself. Thank you, Miss Louise, for helping me pick up trash in West Baltimore. She is 81 year levels old. I changed that to Doc Martin's. You're not old. You're 81 levels. So she's 81 levels young.
Yes, she is. Isn't she absolutely the cutest little thing you have ever seen? Oh my gosh, I fell in love with Miss Louise. I'm just saying, Scott needs to bring Miss Louise with him to Texas when he comes in October, is all I've got to say. She is absolutely adorable. And again, another person setting the example. The woman is 82 years young and is out there helping clean up. So anybody else does not have an excuse. Little Marissa Molesky was out there in her wheelchair. So, everybody has something that they can offer. Even if it is just there to bring camaraderie and support to the people out there picking the trash and stuff up. But we've got to join in every chance we get and fight back, show these people in these areas that our tent loves each other and takes care of each other, and we look out for our own. We don't care what color you are. We don't care what political persuasion you are. We take care of our own. And I just think it's a wonderful way, because remember, sometimes, guys, our most powerful testimonies is our witness, the way we live. So they are both definitely putting their money where their mouth is. And I think she is absolutely adorable. Like I love.
Yes, she is. I guarantee Scott is squatting down in that photo because I believe she's not very tall at all.
No, and you know what? Did you see on one of his social media platforms, he posted a picture of someone, a woman, I think she might be in the press, that what the press showed a picture of them two together. She had interviewed him, and it made him look like she, was right up in here. And he showed a picture of it, and he was actually sitting down or scrunched down on a stool, and she was standing beside him so that they could be photographed together. Otherwise, she'd probably have come to his belt buckle. It was very funny. The trials and tribulations of tall people, he said.
Well, next up, we've got another tweet not from Scott Presler, but we've got another tweet, and it's from the lovely Ivanka Trump. In August, the manufacturing industry added 3,000 jobs. Since the election, 512,000 manufacturing jobs have been added. So 7,000 manufacturing jobs were lost in 2016. So, hey, he doesn't have a magic wand, right? That magic wand is kicking Bahuki.
Honey, that magic wand of his is the size of a baseball bat. And he just took them out and absolutely beat them to death with it. And I am saying, guys, because not only is the jobs important, but the areas that he brought manufacturing back in are areas that are vital, again, to our national interest. So, our national security. We now know, because of his leadership, that the Dems are wrong. The number one threat to our society and our world is not climate change, whatever they want to call that, but rather the Chinese. They are out to take the world over. And now people are becoming aware of it, and they're not afraid to voice it. And he has also taken steps. I remember we covered in the last few weeks to get Japan. He made a deal so that they bought a large chunk of our debt from the Chinese to minimize our risk with them. That is vitally important. But the Chinese were selling us inferior products. Our steel was inferior. That was one of the reasons we were having all the issues, all the problems with our ships and our planes and all that kind of thing. Plus the fact that, of course, Obama had purposefully, I feel, depleted our armed forces so that it would be easier to take us over from within when he brought about the one, world governance that he was purporting. You could tell the man was always gaming for king of the world. He thought he was going to be president of the world.
That's right. And, well, you know what? Here we go. We just saw that tweet from Ivanka Trump, so...
Well, in fact, we've seen more manufacturing jobs created since I've been president than any time since the 1990s.
That's false.
That's a fact.
That's a fact.
And
Jackass.
if you look at just the auto industry as an example, they've had record sales and they've hired back more people over the last 5 years than they had for a very long time. We actually make more stuff, have a bigger manufacturing base today than we've had in most of our history. The problems have been, part of the problems have had to do with jobs going overseas. And this is one of the reasons why I've been trying to negotiate trade deals to raise wages and environmental standards in other countries so that they're not undercutting us. But frankly, part of it's had to do with automation.
So raising wages and climate crisis in China, it worked out really well, didn't it?
Into an auto factory today that used to have 10,000 people And now they've got 1,000 people making the same number of cars or more. And so what that means is even though we're making the same amount of stuff in our manufacturing sector, we're employing fewer people. Now, the good...
So now we're actually employing more manufacturing jobs in the auto industry, right?
Mm-hmm.
And making even more cars here. So
yeah, and remember, POTUS just announced another deal this week. Another, in our recap of the week, winning of the week, he told us that just by implementing these few changes that he had suggested, it was going to lower the price by $3,000 and make them safer because they're going to be heavier. When I was growing up, and we were talking, I was always plotting and planning about my first car and all that, talking to my daddy and telling him what I thought I wanted and all this stuff. And at the time, smaller cars were just really coming into the play in Texas because we've always thought bigger is better in Texas, including our hair. But
Doc, real quick.
For big hair, you just do not need negativity like that in your life. You just cut them out. But
Doc, real quick though, I got a question for you. Wasn't the Model A a heavy car?
Excuse me?
Continue on.
I'm going to ignore that because otherwise I might have jerk a knot in your tail. Anyway, as I was saying before I was rudely interrupted, back then I wanted a little car. I thought that was going to be so cool. And my dad went, absolutely not. You will be in a big car because I want as much protection around you as we can get. Boy, he must have known how I was going to be driving even back then. That's all I can say. But I got it honest because he's a terrible driver too. But I'm a good driver. I'm just a very fast driver. And you better get the hell out of my way. Do not be dawdling or lollygagging in the left lane is all I've got to say. That is for passing only. That is not for loitering. So move it over, Buttercup. But getting back to the subject at hand, Daddy always thought that was better because it was a lot bigger, a lot more to protect you. And now POTUS is bringing back the same thing. So, he's improving safety. I don't think we're going to lose a lot as far as mileage goes on our gas. And it's going to be $3,000 cheaper. What more could the man do for us? Besides, doing away, if he could just do an executive order to do away with daylight savings time, I would greatly appreciate it, POTUS. So if you're watching, let me do my weekly plug because I got so moved today, y'all. I got my high really early instead of, I usually get real excited right for the show, kind of get this little buzz. But I got that early on today because I was talking to my husband and plotting and planning, saying, you know what, I just think that God is telling me that he is going to reveal to POTUS that I have to be the one to go up there and represent us, to hug him till his eyeballs pop out of his head so that he will truly know as he looks into my little creepy eyes that, the depths of our appreciation for saving not only our nation but our world. So POTUS, if you're out there or anybody that knows him, I am saying this because I think the Lord is just putting it on my heart. He needs Doc Martin to come up there and hug him till his eyeballs pop out and celebrate his re-election along with my birthday. Woohoo! Just saying.
Roll tape is Chris Mack. We'll get back on the subject here.
News is that there are entire new industries that are starting to pop up.
Like Solyndra?
And you're actually seeing some manufacturers coming back to the United States because they're starting to realize, you know what, energy prices are lower here, workers are better here, this is our biggest market, and so even though we offshored and went someplace else before, now it turns out we're better off going ahead and manufacturing here. But for those...
when did that happen? Manufacturers were coming back under Obama? I don't recall that.
They couldn't flee fast enough after he pushed through, what was it? that we got out of NAFTA that bankrupted us. I mean, that closed. I mean, all over America, you saw all of the manufacturing plants shuttered. When else? Not now. You have a president that picked up the phone and called the head of, who was it, Chevy or somebody like that was threatening to shut down a plant, and said, you know what, if you won't change your mind about that, shame on you, number one. And number two, at least hurry up and rent that building and that equipment to somebody else quickly so that we can replace those jobs. Now, when else in your lifetime have you ever heard a president that was willing to stand up for the average American worker like that? Never. I'm at a higher level of level 57, and in all of my 57 levels, I have never seen a president that was willing to go to bat for the people like that.
Folks who lost their job right now because a plant went down to Mexico. You know, that isn't going to make you feel better. And so what we have to do is to make sure that folks are trained for the jobs that are coming in now, because some of those jobs of the past are just not going to come back. And when somebody says, like the person you just mentioned, who I'm not going to advertise for, that he's going to bring all these jobs back. Well, how exactly are you going to do that? What are you going to do? There's no answer to it. He just says, well, I'm going to negotiate a better deal. Well, how exactly are you going to negotiate that? What magic wand do you have? And usually the answer is he doesn't have an answer.
So we just saw, let's go back to it. Right, Doc? I'm going to go back to it. We usually don't do this, but I'm going to go back to it. Where is it? Ivanka Trump, in August, they added another 3,000 manufacturing jobs for a total of a little over 500,000 manufacturing jobs since Trump's been in office. Explain that. He can't.
Can't even try.
Plus, I think he did negotiate better deals.
But for the first time in umpteen million years, our wages are going up. We're making more money. And as a small business owner, I just got my taxes done. And, again, my taxes went down. So, all I can say is winning.
That's right.
Tastes sweet, doesn't it?
So, I'm going to do something here. I keep saying I was going to do this, and there we go. That's not a really good shot. Oh, here we go. I'm going to bring up whoa, what happened to our... Somebody jumped on Zoom. Who is it? Mary Sue... Do you know who this is?
No. I was just noticing that.
Who's Mary Sue?
Do we have a guest? Just make sure Scott didn't join us early.
Hi, I'm Mary Sue. I'm a friend of Kathleen Lieberman's.
Oh, hello.
Yes, Mary Sue.
Glad to be a part of this. Am I early?
Just a little. If you don't mind jumping out and rejoining us, we're going to be assembling at is it 8:55?
Yes,
8:55 p.m.
8:55.
Eastern time.
Eastern. Okay, not a problem.
Okay. But we're excited to have you. Thank you.
We caught you. You caught us live. We're live on YouTube, Twitch, DLive, and Periscope right now. So welcome aboard.
I'm sorry.
So give a shout out to all your fellow patriots. They'll be excited to have you.
Thank you. Thank you.
We'll see you in a bit.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, nothing like having an early guest. I'm so glad.
Oh, okay.
People
I was
are
wondering
always
what happened.
excited to see Scott, I think.
I was going to show Oh, not that display. That's us. Oh, everything got all screwy here. Oh, okay. Okay, so this is Utica, New York, okay? And I'll just show you some of the factories. That was a GE factory. That was a GE factory. They are closed. You can see all the cars around there. Those are all empty parking lots now. There it is. There's a GE factory that's closed. You can see the roof is starting to decay and fall apart. But these are all factories. That's a part of the factory back there. All of these buildings are empty buildings. You can see this is the Beech Nut factory. Not sure if that's open still, but that's not in Utica. But that is another. These are all buildings that are emptied or abandoned. These are all buildings that are emptied or abandoned that are in the Utica area. See, this is the GE factory. Mm-hmm. Now that bottle return and horror realm, I don't think are there because the roof's caving in.
Yeah.
All these buildings.
Oh, that is so sad. And you know what's funny? As we look at these pictures, you know what keeps coming to my mind is that the dim presidential candidates are telling us now they're wanting to take us back to that they are wanting us to lose our jobs, have higher taxes, take whatever medical care that they deem fit to give us, and you know, while we work our butts off to pay for every illegal alien that they've beckoned to come for the last 19 million years, you know, we're going to be working to pay for them. And they're advertising for once exactly what they want to do. Strip us of our Second Amendment right, shut us down, you know, so that we have no free speech, to drain us dry of anywhere from 70 to 90% of our earnings, to stick us on, you know, like a cattle system for medical care, and to make us basically a citizen of the national world order. Now, and also, you know, they don't want us procreating because there's already too many of us common people. So they want to keep perpetuating, you know, killing babies and keeping our numbers down worldwide, not just in America. Bernie Sanders got up there this week and suggested to use abortion as a way of, you know, population control in poor countries. Can't have any more of those pesky little more poor people or anything. You know, the very people that he perpetuates, that he stands up for. Oh, we can't have any more of them people.
No.
You see the disdain in the very way that they talk to us. They're very thinking. And if you have anybody in your life that is, you know, on the fence, you need to be playing all this stuff for them and opening their eyes to the very disdain they have for the backbone of America. That's the middle class, the working people of America that have been, you know, paying for everybody worldwide. I'm sorry to get on my soapbox, but I'm just saying it is time for the cavalry to come to belly up, get on our horses and ride through town, you know, screaming the English is coming, the British are coming, the British are coming. Well, instead of the British, honey, it's the one world new order. So they're here. They've been here. So wake up, get in the game, because it, you know, we've got 2020. We've got to take back the House, increase our lead in the Senate, and get our wonderful POTUS reelected.
Now, Doc, I pulled up some pictures. My father used to work here. This Charlestown, USA used to be Sperry Corporation. He worked there in the 70s and early 80s until he was laid off. We have, of course, in New York State, Democrats basically destroyed New York State manufacturing. And if you look at this Charlestown, it used to be Savage Arms before that, but it's a pretty large complex. The buildings are huge. This complex is enormous, but you can see what's happening to it. This is the building now. It's starting to fall completely apart. My father worked in this building, and this this is what he
Look
did.
at it.
That was probably him, right? Doing this work right there. And as you can see, it's just falling completely to pieces now. And what does our liberal newspaper in this area say? A big step forward is knocking down the UNIVAC building. But you can see what's happening to it. It's just completely deteriorated. And this is one of dozens and dozens of buildings that have been either knocked down, destroyed, or removed. Utica used to be a gigantic manufacturing town. I don't know if you've ever heard of Utica Sheets. They were made in Utica, New York. Utica used to have...
Utica, New York.
Yep. Used to have Bendix was here, Chicago Pneumatic. They are all gone. So nothing left in
It is
Utica.
so sad. And because it isn't just the businesses, guys. Think about all those people. The property, the property value, everything suffered. When people had to move, I'm sure, to find jobs.
Yes.
So it is the saddest thing, and they've done that to Main Street America in small towns all over the United States as well. They wanted to herd us all into big cities because we're easier to manage, and we have the hive thing when we move into a city, and they know that and they exploit it. And I'm just saying, America is not going to stand for this anymore. We're going to have a revitalization. I'm having a hard time speaking tonight. A revitalization of rural America, of bringing back our neighborhoods with people like Scott Presler. I think the pride in our nation is back, in the pride in being a patriot. He's just made, being patriotic cool again.
Well, Doc, we've got roughly 4 minutes. We're going to end the show a little early tonight so that we can get ready for Scott and other folks to join, and so that we're ready to roll at 8 o'clock. So be sure to join us.
We can't already be close to being finished. This goes so fast.
It's 8:45 already, yes. So we want to make sure we're all set to go for our special guest in the next 2-hour show, Speakeasy. So please join us. And if you'd like to donate for a new mouse, please go to patreon.com or PayPal.
Otherwise, that might be what you're getting in your Christmas stocking, darling.
Yeah. Santa Claus doesn't
At
stop
my house, I keep every member of the family has a list on the refrigerator. And when you think of something during the year that you want, because when somebody asks you at Christmas time, well, what do you want? You go, I don't know. You're like a deer caught in headlights. You're going, I don't know. I can't think of anything. And so if you keep a list on your refrigerator, when you think of something for your list, you go write it on there. And then at birthdays, anniversaries, Christmas, then your loved ones can go to your list and pick something off of that and know it's something you want, but you still get a surprise under the tree or to open for birthdays and stuff. So we're going to have to put that on your Christmas list on the fridge. I'm going to have to add one for Phil.
And viewers, please send your Christmas list to Doc Martin at...
Right. Yeah.
All right, folks, we'll see you in about 10 minutes or so. Please join us and spread the word.
Don't be late.
Yes, please join us and spread the word. Thank you. See you shortly.
Bye, guys. See you in a minute.